Joanna Hoffmann?
Oh God, what a question nowadays. I was studying in the late 80s and in fact going into the art world in the beginning of 90s. And that was a very special time of transformation, transitions. Everything was somehow new, or in this kind of a state of forming, questioning, and so forth. I said I was studying graphics, but I make a double diploma in graphics and drawing. But that was in a studio of Professor Jarosław Kozłowski, who was a conceptual artist. So in fact, I was more making installations than actually drawings. So it was an entirely different concept of space and time experience through this subject. So at that time in the 90s, I was making a lot of site-specific exhibitions or installations. A lot of young artists like myself we were taking the old buildings who were before some factories or abandoned and was given to artists for a short period of time. So the artwork you did in this place had to somehow correspond with that, and I was always trying to somehow define myself in this space. And from this question about the space and time you occupy, I moved to the question, what is actually my borders? And I started to explore my heartbeat and the micro sounds in the heartbeat, going to the micro sound of it and discovering infinities, let's say. But soon I realized that actually nowadays the heartbeat and was not consider your limits, but rather your brain activities. So then I started to be interested in brain waves. And going to this microsound world, I was driven by the subject of harmony and Pythagorean idea of harmony, and that's what brought me in fact to technology and science. So one of my first works that was significant for me from today's perspective was the music of spheres, and so for that, of course, I had to go to scientists. I went to London to make my brain scan because they were making the research on synesthesia, so they had the fMRI technology designed for listening to sounds. So that actually brought, so it's actually this question about this relation between the micro and micro world and exploring this nexus of this scale in myself brought me to the technology. When I think about myself, it's I'm this embodiment of this milliards of years of the evolution. So like feel myself like this kind of algorithmic narrative that I'm embodiment. And so how I made myself, it's really difficult to say from this time perspective. But I guess you also think in terms of montage, because this is the subject that interests you. And I have been thinking actually, what does montage means for me? Because I'm not coming from the film background or video background. I think that what somehow shaped my imagination and way of expression, it might be that I started my education in music, and I studied graphics and traditional graphics. So I didn't have much to do with technology when I was young. At that time, I think that there was not many computers around anyway. So on one hand side, narrative, which is related to music, it's usually the kind of a narrative which is put in sound, with a structure. And then with graphics that you work with layers. I was making the graphics when I was putting layers over layers over layers. And then when I started to work with new technologies, I think that this musical narrative and this layering in graphics somehow came together. So, but in music, when I came back to it in my work, I was more interested in resonances. So it's also kind of a layering. So maybe I can speak about the montage from some different angle. Another very important experience for me was going to India. I was invited by KHOJ to Calcutta, and that was my first journey outside Europe. And of course, it was a big cultural shock, and I think that in all levels. But I was overwhelmed by the power of life that I experienced in this place. That everything what was alive wanted to exist. This incredible energy. So this kind of a question, to be or not to be, that is permeating European culture. It does not exist there. Everything, even the most handicapped person. You see on the streets, of course, that there are all these mafias and different cultural patterns, but everything wants to live. So then, an abundance of nature, of course. So that nature is everywhere. So there's not this division between a human being and nature. It's you feel yourself as an individual, like really like a minute part of this big net of life. So then I question myself, what is life? And this question somehow stays with me up till now. And then from Calcutta I went to New Delhi, to the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, and I went into the molecular level. And that was, again, like another kind of a threshold for me, because all this Aristotelian perception of life, definition of life, ceased to exist there. That we perceive life as an organism, on organism level, because we perceive ourselves, and that's how our senses are working. But in fact, life happens on the molecular level. So I have to dive into this molecular level and bring this level to my world, to my perception. So that was again, all related with technology. And then I was interested with the let's say, the basic molecules of life, and but coming from this humanistic experience, I was taking the scientific knowledge and transforming it into my own language, onto my own understanding. So that's how this path was evolving, let's say. The first stereoscopic cameras were introduced. And I bought a small Sony camera, and I don't know even how it happened that I was interested in this stereoscopy, but somehow it happened. And I think that this 3D, it's still not it's not yet explored enough, I think, by artists. It was this period of time, that it was actually quite interesting, because when you went to the media market and so forth, there was everywhere you've got this 3D screens, monitors, and everybody was thinking, oh, we are going in this direction with the cinemas and so forth, but somehow it died. It didn't went into this direction. Yeah? So, but I think that it is still a lot to explore. How our brain works, and I think that actually because of the 3D experiences, that was the first step towards VR and immersive technologies. All this question about the perception appeared, and I think that also this reflection, how technology is changing our perception, or how we. It's not only that the technology shows that the world, that our reality that we cannot see through our own senses. But in fact, it creates changes in our brain that we start to perceive in a different ways. That actually our brain adapts to the technology. So it's very fascinating in light of today's technological progress. When we think even about the Neuralink, it's not that the technology will, it may be not that technology will adapt to us, but maybe our brains will have to adapt to technology, or vice versa. I think that will be I think that will be a fascinating new chapter for humanity. So from this 3D, from the stereoscopic experiments, video animations that I was doing, then I went to VR. It's kind of maybe a natural way, though I still work in both ways, because when I'm now making the VR narrative, I'm also doing parallelly stereoscopic version because of this, let's say, individual experience that you have. And it's not only from the practical point of view, but it's also somehow that when you have an exhibition and not everybody can go to the VR because of some sometimes the health issue, or also the limitation of the equipment and so forth, to have the stereoscopic version, which is more accessible by people. I think it's a good combination. I have been recently very much interested in assembly theory. This is the theory that was introduced by chemists Le Cronin, with other scientists that I can mention, Sarah Walker, who is astrobiologist and physicist. And this assembly theory is it's a perception of evolution through life is the universe that creates memory. And I was really taken by this definition. So because I'm myself this embodiment of this memory, it's our genes and our DNA and these algorithms of life. So in these horizons, let's say, I am trying to find my memories, but not memories like you think like from the childhood, from yesterday and so forth, but these memories that are embodied in myself. So I feel like this embodiment of this all history of evolution. It's the trial to impose some structure, and it is extremely difficult because, as I mentioned before, there's no linearity. There's nothing. It's linear. So how to give the structure to all this complexity of perception, how to put the structure, how to order it, to change to transform the experience into a communication. This is, I think, how to create a message. My last project was related to, again, to the Art and Science program project, SPAN expedition. SPAN, it's the Global Foundation Society for Protection of Underground Networks, and they ambition is to map the mycorrhizal network in the world. Mycorrhizal, that means it's the fungi which are living in a symbiosis with roots of plants, and this actually the symbiosis between the plants' roots and fungi make plants able to leave water and colonize the lands. So this symbiosis is extremely important when you think about the evolution of life. And one of these hotspots of this network is in the east of Poland. It's actually the East Carpathians region. So I joined the scientific team for their research. And we went to the spot on the border between Poland, Slovakia and Ukraine, to Bieszczady mountains. So those scientists were taking the probes of the soil from the area of monumental trees. So there were always, 5 or 6 monumental trees which delineated the area of the research and taking the probes. And coming to this project, I found this area like the key again to explore this identity, let's say, my deep time identity. And what is very interesting that this area, this Carpathian mountains, once it was the ocean, on actually the edge of the ocean. And so the rocks have the history of the first creatures and shells and calcium and so forth, which are remnants of this time. And then the formation of soil with microorganisms, with fungi that allow plants to grow and become the forest that we have now. And we are inside this forest. So I made this via narrative that starts from the volcanic activities through this ocean and formation of rocks, soil, fungi, until you are becoming the inside of this monumental tree and come out and see the world from the outside, from the eyes. So the materials are just the documentary images that I took with my smartphone and using different lenses on the top. So here there are no images which are generated by AI. It's all natural, let's say, images that then I was combining, putting together, making them into some compositions and so forth and so forth. So it's layering them. So it's a lot of work to combine, small fragments with another fragments, and to making this sphere composition. Okay. We can just put you in a chair, armchair. So I just. I think that it will be this one. Not now, exit. Always when you want to show, there's some. Okay.